My name is Emily Dawson, and I live in a quiet neighborhood in Portland, Oregon. I've always loved the calm that comes after sunset, when the streets go silent, and only the sound of wind brushing against the trees fills the air. But one night, that silence was broken, and nothing in my life was ever the same again. It started like any other autumn evening. The leaves were turning amber and gold, and the faint smell of rain lingered in the air. I had just finished grading papers. I teach literature at the local high school, and was getting ready to make some chamomile tea before bed. That's when I heard it. A knock, soft, uncertain, but definitely there. I frowned, glancing at the clock, 11:43 p.m. No one ever visited me that late. At first, I thought maybe it was the wind or the neighbor's cat brushing against the door. But then it came again, louder this time. 3 knocks. My heart started beating a little faster. I hesitated, walking slowly toward the door. My small golden retriever, Daisy, stood beside me, her ears perked up. She didn't bark, she just looked alert, curious, and maybe even confused. Who could it be? I whispered to her, half expecting an answer. When I peeked through the peephole, I didn't see anyone. The porch light flickered slightly in the drizzle, casting strange shadows across the yard. Another knock. This time, softer, almost pleading. I swallowed hard and decided to open the door, just a crack. "Hello," I said cautiously. No answer. But then, from the corner of my porch, someone stepped into view, a man, drenched from the rain. He looked about 35, wearing a gray jacket and carrying a small backpack. His eyes were filled with something between panic and exhaustion. "I'm sorry," he said breathlessly. "My car broke down about half a mile away. I tried knocking at a few houses, but no one answered. Could I please use your phone?" My first instinct was fear. We hear too many stories nowadays. But something about his voice sounded genuine. I looked at Daisy. She didn't growl or bark. Just sat there, calm. "Okay," I said hesitantly, "just a minute." I grabbed my phone and handed it through the slightly opened door. He smiled faintly. "Thank you, Mom." He called someone. I heard him mention tow truck and Elm Street. After a short call, he returned my phone with a polite nod. "Thank you so much," he said, stepping back. "They said they'll be here in about 40 minutes. I'm really sorry for disturbing you." I nodded. "It's all right. You can wait on the porch if you want. It's warmer under the light." He smiled again, grateful. I went inside, closed the door gently, and watched from the window as he sat quietly on the steps, rubbing his hands together for warmth. The rain began to fall harder. Something inside me, maybe compassion, maybe concern, made me grab a spare blanket and a cup of hot tea. I opened the door again and handed them to him. "You didn't have to do that," he said softly, his eyes full of gratitude. "It's cold," I replied simply. "Just stay dry." He introduced himself as Michael Turner, a software technician who had been visiting his parents 2 towns away. He told me he got lost after taking a wrong turn. We talked a little. Nothing personal, just small things about the weather, the city, how strange it was to get caught in the rain without warning. Minutes turned into nearly an hour, and by the time the tow truck arrived, I felt like I had known him longer than just an hour. There was something kind about his manner, polite, grounded, respectful. Before leaving, he thanked me again and promised to return my blanket the next day. I smiled, thinking it was one of those polite things people say and never follow up on. But the next evening, just as the sun began to set, I heard a familiar knock. When I opened the door, there he was, dry this time, smiling, holding the blanket neatly folded. "I come bearing clean laundry," he joked. We both laughed. I invited him in for coffee, and that was how our unlikely friendship began. Cloud with rain over the next few weeks. Michael and I started talking more often. He'd stop by with pastries from a local bakery, or I'd bring him books I thought he'd like. We discovered a shared love for mystery novels, old movies, and long walks in the rain. He was quiet, thoughtful, and never intrusive, the kind of person who made you feel at ease just by being there. But one night, he came by looking different. Troubled. "Can I talk to you for a minute?" he asked. We sat at the kitchen table. He told me about his struggles at work, how his company was downsizing, and he didn't know what to do next. His voice cracked slightly, and I could see the weight he was carrying. Without thinking, I said, "You'll figure it out. You always do." He looked at me, surprised. "You really think so?" "I know so," I said. That night, he thanked me for being there, for listening, for caring, and I realized, sometimes, the smallest act of kindness can open doors you never expected. Sunrise months later, winter came, and with it, a kind of peace I hadn't felt in years. Michael found a new job nearby, and we kept in touch regularly. Daisy loved him, which told me all I needed to know about his character. One snowy evening, as we walked down the same street where his car had once broken down, I smiled and said, "You know, if that night hadn't happened, we might never have met." He laughed. "Then I guess I should thank the rain, and your open door." Sun behind small cloud epilogue. It's been 2 years since that night. Life hasn't been perfect, but it's been peaceful, filled with quiet moments, shared laughter, and mutual respect. Sometimes, I still think about how easily things could have been different if I hadn't opened that door. But now, whenever I hear a knock, even late at night, I remember that not every unexpected sound is a warning. Sometimes, it's just life giving you a chance to change everything.